After nearly a decade of rapid industrial growth, China is trying to transition from a copycat nation to a manufacturing powerhouse to achieve the grand Made in China 2025 political goal. With only 6 months left, China's economic growth has weakened further. Since the end of the COVID-19 pandemic, Chinese society has struggled to recover from the zero-COVID nightmare, and the previous high-growth model is no longer sustainable. According to the latest data from China's National Bureau of Statistics, the Purchasing Managers' Index, PMI, for May 2024, an industrial barometer, was 49.5 points, down from 50.4 points in April. This index has returned to negative territory for the first time since February, after being in negative territory for 5 consecutive months before April. In the industry, a PMI above 50 indicates manufacturing expansion, while below 50 indicates contraction. This means that except for April, China's economic development has been shrinking and weakening for 6 consecutive months. As people began to worry about this unfortunate news, Hong Kong's South China Morning Post published a report stating that, based on official data, China has made significant changes over the past decade, achieving most of its goals in 10 key areas, such as new energy vehicles and information technology. The only unachieved target is advancing lithography technology with a Made in China 2025 completion rate of 86%. The report also claimed that these statistics prove that U.S. tariffs and sanctions have been ineffective against China. The report provided a boost to the Chinese public amidst economic depression, but people still questioned how such precise figures were calculated. In fact, the Chinese government often confuses fact with fiction using statistics. According to a report by the Beijing News, during the 10th China Modernization Research Forum on August 3, 2012, Yi Yong, director of the Institute of Social Development Research at the National Development and Reform Commission, mentioned that the Chinese nation's rejuvenation index was 0.62 in 2010, indicating that 62% of the rejuvenation task had been completed. If the rejuvenation of the Chinese nation could be 62% complete 10 years ago, then a completion rate of 86% for Made in China 2025 10 years later is just as absurd. What is Made in China 2025? Made in China 2025 is a 10-year plan proposed in 2015 by former Premier Li Keqiang, representing the first of 3 steps for China to dominate global manufacturing under the leadership of Xi Jinping. Step 1. By 2025, join the ranks of manufacturing powerhouses. Step 2. By 2035, achieve a mid-level standard in the World Manufacturing Powerhouse Camp. Step 3. By the 100th anniversary of the People's Republic of China, 2049, further consolidate the nation's manufacturing status and become a global manufacturing leader. Under this plan, the Chinese government has invested 300 billion yuan, focusing on subsidizing 10 key industries, including next-generation information technology, high-end CNC machine tools and robots, aerospace equipment, marine engineering equipment, and high-tech ships, advanced rail transit equipment, energy-saving and new energy vehicles, power equipment, agricultural equipment, new materials, biomedicine, and high-performance medical devices. The Ministry of Industry and Information Technology of China issued the Made in China 2025 plan to lead advancements in robotics, information technology, and clean energy. The State Council also issued extensive notifications to local governments, emphasizing the importance of winning this critical decades-long battle. Moving away from lagging production. After implementing reforms and opening up, China leveraged cheap labor to become a massive global industry. Although many industrial products sold internationally are made in China, the country's basic materials, components, processes, and industrial technologies are significantly lagging. Chinese manufacturing has relied heavily on foreign equipment and expertise, with local production and imitation leading to low innovation and poor brand quality. As Premier Li Keqiang highlighted in 2016, Chinese factories couldn't even produce ballpoint pen tips independently at that time. Globally, Made in China was synonymous with low quality or knockoff products. In November 2017, the British online media Go Social ranked the most notorious Chinese knockoff products, posting a list of the top 15 weirdest Chinese products. Among the notable entries were a nail kit made of pliers, screwdrivers, and utility knives, 4th place, trash boxing gloves, poor quality iPad cases, assembled teddy bears, cotton gloves of unknown material. Other products in the top 15 included knockoff PlayStation consoles, fake Apple phones, iPhone boots, Kine sports slippers, Nokia phones, SQMY controllers, and Deets headphones. These fake and substandard products were widely mocked, reflecting a humorous yet depreciating view of Chinese creativity, further devaluing the Made in China label. With the launch of the Made in China 2025 plan, it caught the attention of the Australian public as well. Wang Rui, an economist for the Greater China region at ANZ Bank, noted that China faces multiple growth bottlenecks, such as rising labor costs, high employee turnover, and inefficient manufacturing processes that lag behind global standards in material conversion efficiency. Wang Rui pointed out that China is injecting massive investments to transform the rough made-in-China concept of the world factory into an innovative, high-quality, and high-tech, intelligent manufacturing in China over the next few decades. The goal is to integrate production processes through networks, establishing a more eco-friendly, smarter, and higher-quality manufacturing industry. To boost public confidence in the party, the Chinese government released a propaganda documentary in March 2018 titled Amazing My Country, praising Xi Jinping's achievements in economic construction. However, the documentary received widespread criticism, with many people sarcastically commenting, "Amazing, the bureaucrat's country," and "Is this a mental Viagra injection for the people?" The phrase "amazing my country" quickly became a popular term on the internet, used both in official propaganda and by the public for satire. Made in China 2025 raises concerns in the US and Europe. 1 year after the launch of Made in China 2025, some Western scholars warned that numerous European companies and even governments, motivated by short-term benefits, were actively participating in the plan, which could pose long-term risks to the European economy. The Mercator Institute for China Studies, a German think tank, released a report on Made in China 2025, highlighting the threats it posed to Europe, particularly to Germany. Max Zenglin, a scholar at Mercator, stated that China targets different types of foreign companies in various ways. High-tech companies, often leaders in their industries, have the most valuable parts of their supply chains located outside China. To acquire these critical technologies, the Chinese government employs various methods, such as offering favorable conditions, encouraging Chinese companies to acquire related foreign companies, poaching key employees, and, if necessary, using espionage. Beijing recognizes that reliance on foreign companies in key areas could be an Achilles heel for China's technological advancement. For willing technology partners, the Chinese government is working hard to persuade them with various incentives to transfer the most technologically advanced parts of their supply chains to China. Beijing's goal is to use this opportunity to upgrade its own industries and climb higher in the global value chain. The report cites China's electronics industry as a typical example. Initially just assembling for international brands, many Chinese companies can now produce essential core components. Zenglin categorized most German companies as willing technology partners. Made in China 2025 also drew strong criticism from then U.S. President Donald Trump. In a White House press conference in November 2018, Trump claimed that he had forced China to abandon the Made in China 2025 plan because it means they will economically take over the world by 2025. Then Vice President Mike Pence also criticized Made in China 2025, accusing the Chinese Communist Party of attempting to control 90% of the world's most advanced industries, including robotics, biotechnology, and artificial intelligence. To achieve this, Beijing allegedly instructed its industry to steal U.S. intellectual property, demanded U.S. companies to hand over trade secrets, and supported acquisitions to seize American innovations. China's security agencies were said to have obtained advanced U.S. military technology through theft. The ambitions highlighted by Made in China 2025 also became one of the reasons for the U.S.-China trade war. The U.S. and EU are concerned that the substantial subsidies and support provided by the Chinese government to these industries may violate market economy principles, undermine fair competition in international markets, and weaken the leadership position of the U.S. and Europe in these high-tech fields. The U.S. and EU are also worried about China's practices regarding technology transfer and intellectual property protection protection. They accuse China of forced technology transfers and imposing unfair restrictions on foreign companies operating in the Chinese market. Some U.S. and European countries also fear that certain technologies involved in Made in China 2025 have dual-use potential, which could be used to enhance China's military capabilities, posing a potential risk to the national security of the U.S. and Europe. Subsequently, the U.S. passed the Foreign Investment Risk Review Modernization Act, expanding the authority of the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, CFI-US, to limit investments from China and other countries in sensitive technologies. Germany, France, and Italy called for stricter reviews for foreign investments by the EU, primarily targeting Beijing. Australia has been blocking Chinese buyers from acquiring its strategic assets and announced plans to update its foreign investment guidelines. The Canadian government also sought to strengthen its foreign investment laws, requiring national security tests for shares held by non-Canadian entities. The impact of 3 years of the pandemic on China's industries. Before the global pandemic, China began to curb the external promotion of Made in China 2025. Notifications from Chinese media authorities instructed media outlets to stop using the term Made in China 2025, with consequences for non-compliance. As a result, previously prevalent high-profile slogans like "Amazing My Country," "Seeing the Motherland Act This Way, I Feel at Ease," and "The New Four Great Inventions" suddenly disappeared, leading to speculations that the propaganda department was feeling guilty. However, after enduring 3 years of strict zero-COVID policies, especially facing measures from Europe and the US to defend against China's disruption of the global market, China's economic growth has gradually slowed over the past few years. Slogans like "Made in China 2025" have become self-congratulatory. Several major reasons for China's economic decline include high levels of corporate and local government debt, increasing financial risks, a real estate market bubble with high housing prices putting pressure on consumer spending and threatening financial system stability. Regulatory measures have failed to stabilize the market. The negative consequences of past family planning policies leading to an aging population, which will pressure the labor market and social security system. The U.S.-China trade war and other geopolitical risks challenging China's international trade and economic cooperation. Global supply chain uncertainties and trade frictions negatively impact China's economic growth. The exodus of foreign companies and high youth unemployment rates in China have led to weakened domestic consumption, threatening social stability and sustainable development. Despite significant progress in the green energy industry, overcapacity and the strategy of dumping low-priced products globally have met strong resistance from Europe and the US. Under the US chip embargo, China struggles to innovate and break through core technologies. According to the Made in China 2025 plan, China aimed to reduce its reliance on imports in several key high-tech industries by 2025. However, it appears unlikely that China will achieve this in the coming years. Many Chinese companies have gone bankrupt and workers have lost their jobs, while counterfeit products have resurfaced in large quantities. In February this year, South Korean media reported that the South Korean Customs Service recently seized 142,930 counterfeit products over 4 weeks at the end of 2023, with 62.3% from China and 27.5% from Hong Kong, meaning about 90% of the counterfeit products came from China and 10% from Vietnam. The report stated that counterfeit products has surged sixfold in the past 4 years. The South Korean Customs Service warned that the circulation and consumption of counterfeit products are not only about intellectual property infringement, but also pose severe health threats. Ingredient analysis revealed that counterfeiters used cadmium for surface treatment to reduce costs and even used lead and cadmium as primary components during manufacturing. Lead and cadmium levels in some body contact products like bags and jewelry were at least 2 to 930 times above the standard. Out of 24 counterfeit earrings mimicking brands like Louis Vuitton, Dior, and Chanel, 83% were found to contain cadmium, and 3 also had excessive lead levels. A counterfeit Chanel brooch was found to contain lead 153 times above the standard. With only 6 months left for the Made in China 2025 plan, the Asian Development Bank recently released its 2024 economic outlook, predicting a continued cooling of the Chinese economy. It seems the goals outlined in the plan are far from reality.